today is nothing more than really a review. Okay? Today is nothing more than really a review. We're going to talk about equivalent fractions and putting things in simplest form. If you recall, fractions that represent the same value are equivalent. So 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8 are equivalent fractions. Take my Thanksgiving pie that I ate. Okay? If I only cut it in half, I put one line across it, and I ate one piece, meaning 1 out of 2, I ate half the pie. All right? Now the next Thanksgiving pie I had, I cut into 4 pieces, but I ate 2 of the 4 pieces. That means I still ate half the pie. Right? Well, the next one I tried, I got smart and I decided to cut it into 8 pieces, except I ate 4 of the 8, which means I still ate half the pie. Okay? Those are equivalent fractions, 1/2, 2/4, and 4/8. They're equivalent, meaning it still has the total same value. And if you made them into decimals, all right? Anna, are you with me? If you made them into decimals, 2 divided by 4 is 0.5. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. 4 divided by 8 is 0.5. Okay? So it's all 1/2. So you're going to be asked to do problems like this, finding equivalent fractions, and they're going to give you a fraction. So you have to find an equivalent fraction. And this is really an easy thing to do. 10/12. The one rule that you have to remember is you need to, whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. So if you divide the top, in this case, we can divide the top and bottom, both of them, we can divide both top and bottom by 2. And that would give us something like 5/6. Now, when we want to get a number in what's called simplest form, and we'll get that, that's the one. Actually, let me ask you, what is simplest form? We talked about it on Friday. How do you know when a fraction is in simplest form? Let's use math terms. Hunter. A fraction is in simplest form when the only number that the numerator and denominator are divisible by, meaning you can divide them, is their greatest common factor. And the greatest common factor is 1. Okay? When the top and bottom numbers' greatest common factor is 1, that's when a fraction is in simplest form. Okay? 10/12. The greatest common factor 10 and 12 have is 2. So when we divide 10 and 12 by the greatest common factor, the next fraction we get, the greatest common factor 5 and 6 have, is 1. Okay? So we need to write 2 equivalent fractions for this. So we got 5/6. That's 1. The next one, we want to take 10/12, and instead of doing that, I'm going to multiply this by 2 times 2, and I'm going to end up with 20/24. That also is equivalent. Now, let me show you something that most 6th graders like to do. They're going to do this. You're going to go 10/12, and you're going to divide this by 2, and you're going to divide this by 2, and then you're going to end up with 5/6, and then that's 1. And then you're going to take 5/6, you multiply by 4 or something, and you go by 4, and you end up with 20/24, and that's another one. And you're like, boom, I'm done. I got it. What happens when you do this? What happens when you make a mistake? And then you decide to do this by 4. And then you end up with 20 over 35. Oh yeah, 28, sorry. Yeah, what happens when you do that? Not only is this one wrong, but because the first one you did was wrong, the second one's wrong too. Okay? So let me tell you, here's my suggestion for you. Always just work off the first one. Go 10 over 12 and divide by 5 and divide by 5. That way, if you make this mistake and you end up with 5 over 7, and then you go 10 over 12, and then you times 4, you end up with 20 over 24. Look, only one is wrong. Okay? 40. Boy, I have some bad math today. Okay, they're both wrong. So what I'm saying is, always work off just the original problem, please, okay? You get the point? All right, next thing. On your whiteboards. Give me 2 equivalent fractions for 4 over 6. Let's look at, see what else we're covering here. You're going to have problems that look like this. You're going to have to find the one that makes it, what is the numerator that makes it right? Well, you can see that 5 times what is 20? 4. So we go times 4 here, times 4 here. So that's going to make this 12. Okay, that's pretty simple. What else are we going to do? Oh, you have to write each fraction in simplest form. Now, here's the deal. I tell you what, you're going to want to find the greatest common factor for 20 and 48. So if I were you, I would do this. I'd go 20, which is 5 and 2, or 5 and 4. And then we got 2 and 2. And then we got 48, 6 and 8, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 2 and 2. And I would go 2, 2, 5. And I'd go 2, 2, and I can see there's nothing else that's going to line up. So my greatest common factor is going to be 4. So I would divide this by 4. Divide by 4, and I end up with what? 5 over 12? Okay? Did you see? Use our skills. Use the knowledge that we had from before. Okay? Always, when you're doing your homework, okay? When you're doing your homework, look, everybody, when you're doing your homework, you have to show me what you're dividing or multiplying by. If you don't do that, I'm not going to accept it, okay? So, the homework assignment that I have for you for tomorrow is page 188 and 189. $12 to $48 even. You got to show your work. Hey, and don't forget, you guys have quiz corrections or signed quizzes.